I say what? Oh, this is Brian. Call me the Norwegian avant-garde master, gardener, coming to you from Ramble On Tower's Dungeon Studio in scenic Hesper, Ontario. You are listening to Ramble On Radio, episode number 49. The Ramble On Radio is the only dedicated Led Zeppelin podcast on this or any other known internets. Be sure to go to rambleonradio.com for all your Led Zeppelin news and any links I might mention during the show. You can subscribe to Ramble On Radio through iTunes, and if you go to iTunes, rate the show, leave a little. It just takes a few seconds. You could just say love it, hate it, whatever, but leave a review. It helps. It means it's a possibility of getting if everybody does that. If lots of people do it, we can get ourselves into the hot, what's hot, which means more people will discover it. You can listen on Spreaker. If you go to Spreaker, follow me, Ramble On Radio, or I Am Brian Dammit, it might be, and check out I Am Brian Dammit on YouTube. All these ways you can, of course, and follow Ramble On Radio on Facebook, Google Plus, and Ramble On Blog at Ramble On. I get this wrong every time. At Ramble On Blog on Twitter. So this week was a bit of a decision time. I got the John Paul Jones album, the Minibus Pimps album actually on Monday, and gave it a listen. Myself and my daughter. My daughter was home from school, and she's 19, and we gave it a listen. And I kind of warned her beforehand, this isn't going to be what you think. And she kind of had some interesting thoughts on it. One of her thoughts was, it's not terrible, which I guess is something from somebody who likes, Broadway hits and pop. This is, metal plots clanking together type of thing. It's not what it is, but it is kind of what it comes across as. So the question was, should I review that? Should I spend the day doing that? Or should I talk about the Physical Grafitti tapes that are out there? And there was kind of two people responded on Facebook. See, the more people respond on Facebook, I have a better. And one went one way, one went the other. I sent a second email. Here's what happened. I sent a second email on Monday to the record company for the Minibus Pimps. Now, I sent one a couple of weeks back. Remember I talked about a couple of emails I sent? One was this one, and one was to California Breed. And remember I mentioned them on the air. I even read them out on the air, and I sent a bunch of links, the Jason Bonham links, to the California Breed guys. I said, look, I'm friendly, I'm a friendly force here. I'm not here to pan this, right? And on Tuesday or Tuesday, I guess this week, they did a press release with the album, the artwork, the set list, etc., the track list, and everything. And I got a email from a guy I'm on an email list of a guy in London who does all this kind of press stuff. And Peter Noble's his name. And so Peter Noble, if they're in London doing interviews, he sets up interviews. He does that. He's a PR guy, and he does all sorts of bands. And I've a couple of times had contact with Peter. And so this time I got one from Peter, and we're setting up interviews in London. And let me know if you want a review copy. So I sat down and I wrote him an email. Basically saying, I know I'm in Toronto, you don't do Toronto, but I'd be interested in a review copy if you can get it to me, and B, could you pass my name on to whoever would be in their area, and we could talk. Maybe I can talk to them about an interview or a review copy. And so I wrote this email, and as I'm finishing the email, sincerely, Brian Gardner, I get some emails coming in. My email's open, and it comes up in a little box on the corner what the first line of the email sort of thing. The subject and the first line. And the subject is California Breed. It's the job. So I go over to that, and it's the email I sent a couple of weeks earlier, it's a reply from the PR firm in the States. Yes, they're going to get me a review copy, so we'll have that. You guys will be the first ones to hear what that's like. And they're going to work on an interview for me. So we might just have an interview with anybody from them. Anyway, that's and so I didn't end up sending the other email, but it's amazing how I was typing out exactly that, and my response came already. But anyway, I sent another email off to it's the album. It's on the album. Anyway, the record company, and see, there's not an actual. This is not, the song list and stuff is inside the record, but it's not a gatefold. It's inside the cover. You have to kind of push it out. Susanna Sonata, Sonatal. Is the record Susanna Sonata, who's remember there was clips of him recording with her last year, with John Paul Jones recording with Susanna Sonata. Anyway, so I sent another email to them, and they have not responded, but I noticed today I got an email on that account about a bunch of avant-garde music. So obviously somebody got my email. They've put me on a mailer. So I'm going to sit tight on the John Paul Jones stuff for another week and just see if they respond, see if I get any response. Maybe we get lucky. And I have some thoughts on it, because this is a little different, and I have some thoughts on it, and I'd rather fully develop those thoughts a bit. Let me say this about the album. If you're a big fan of Thunder Thief, don't worry about getting this one. If you thought Jimmy Page's Lucifer Rising was maybe just a bit out there for you, don't get this one. This is here's an example. The first track is the A side A is actually called Black Aurora Parts 1 to 4, and it's got 4 tracks on the first side, and it's all one song supposedly, but one piece. I wouldn't call them songs. That's one of the problems you have with this, right? But take that beginning 30 seconds of In the Evening, make it 4.5 minutes long, make it never resolve, and you kind of have the first part of, and that's how it goes kind of consistently throughout. Sorry about that. I seem to be having some microphone difficulties. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I really probably have to solve this problem. I seem to have it every week, don't I? So anyway, so that's an idea. The whole album is like that. The whole album is, that's not a song or a piece, and the rest of it's kind of whatever. It's all like that. They're all a little different. They're all different, very different. But it's more. I kind of said this before, and I want to be clear, right? I'm not being dismissive, but it's more noise than what you would consider, or I would consider, music. It's and it seems designed to put you on edge, to create stress for you. It seems almost to be the purpose of the music, of the soundscape they create. But anyway, I'm going, and that's the thesis in a way. I'm going to develop more fully next week. If you're dying, I'm betting it's not going to sell out at the record stores. So apparently it's on Amazon. Apparently it is. If you're dying to get it, it's not that expensive, right? It'll be $20 or so. If you have to have it, have it. No, because I haven't checked the torrents and see if anybody's posted it, but it does come with a CD as well as LP. You buy the LP, you get a CD inside. So you can kind of, you can burn that as well and listen to it on your iPod, because it's great driving music. But no, it's not. What can I say? Well, you know what? It'd keep you awake in the car. It bloody well would do that. So anyway, I'll develop that further next week. We'll talk about that next week. I introed with two different things. One was supposedly Jimmy Page. It released on YouTube this week, and whoever posted it says it is part of Jimmy Page's upcoming solo album. I've heard people say, yeah. When's he going to get around to recording this album? The truth is, he said I'm going to say a year and a half ago, but really probably not quite a year or 4 months or so ago, that he had completed an instrumental side of an album. That he was looking to put together a band and do a vocal side, and do a song side, but he had completed an instrumental side of his solo album. He had said that. So the idea that it's impossible that exists and has now been leaked is it's not impossible. It's possible. It's there, but one would hope that if Jimmy Page is putting out solo, it's better than that. There is no dynamics in that music at all. There's no light and shade, as we call it. It's just kind of all one volume, all one tone. It's almost anti-Jimmy Page in that way. The lick is kind of Jimmy Page-ish, and yeah, it's got the phaser in there, so it's kind of Jimmy Page's sounding, and the cheapest keyboard you ever heard in your life in there. I don't know who thought that was going to sell. So it's not Jimmy Page. I would, I'm going to call that 98% sure. But you can't dismiss the possibility 100%. And I just thought I would play a bit of it. At least it's not. It's nice to have a little music to start the show, and I'm trying not to do copyrighted stuff. So that's something, I guess. Now, the other bit was a little drum bit at the end of some studio outtakes from the Graffiti Physical Grafitti album. That was Sick Again. Robert Plant at the beginning of the song and John Bonham at the end of the song. That is what that was. And I played that for a reason. This week, a couple of tapes went for auction. Rough mixes. They're rough mixes of Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti sessions. They're done at Headley Grange. They're done by Ron Nevison, who was the engineer in those sessions. And he's now selling those tapes. These look like they're mix downs, I believe. They're rough mix downs, 2-track tapes, I believe, regular reel-to-reel tapes. I don't think they're like, the 2-inch 32-track stuff. I think they're the, once they mix them down, they're stereo mix downs. And I've heard, there is a bunch of Physical Graffiti session releases, and you wonder, I just wonder that now I'm told, or I've heard, that there's the second tape. He has them numbered 1 and 2. Number 1 has In My Time of Dying, Sick Again, Desiree, in brackets the Wonton song, or the Wanton song, and 10 Years Gone. I should look at this actually. 352, yeah, see 510, Sick Again, 439. So it's all different. I have a set called the Complete Studio Outtakes. It's 11 discs, and it has a bunch of stuff on it, but it's nothing that's on this by the looks of it. And I wasn't expecting it so, but I did give this a listen. And but the second one has Trampled Underfoot, Driving to Kashmir, Custard Pie, In the Light, Everybody Makes It Through by the looks of it. It's kind of hard to read this. Hold on. Let me expand on things. Everybody Makes It Then. Everybody Makes It Then. In the Light, Everybody Makes It Then, in brackets. And then Swan Song Part 1, Swan Song Part 2. Now, Swan Song became It's a Firm song. He did. Jimmy Page pulled this out for the Firm. Moonlight Midnight, I think it was. Midnight Moonlight, or I have that album sitting upstairs too. But this second disc apparently has been released as a bootleg called "Oh My God." Now say that without Janice from France. Say that and not sound like Janice from France. Can anybody do that anymore? Oh my God. So apparently, or the assumption is, this is where "Oh My God" came from. I don't have it. I haven't had a chance to listen to it. There was a couple of clips, by the way, on, and this is an interesting aspect of this. The question of whether Ron Nevison actually owns this music, these tapes, is probably questionable. He owns the physical tapes, and my understanding is he's perfectly, if he owns them. Now, Led Zeppelin could say he never supposed to take them. There are tapes. We paid for the sessions, and there are tapes, not his tapes. That's conceivable that will come down and happen. But ultimately, he owns the tapes, the physical tapes. Then he can sell the physical tapes, but he does not own the copyrights to the music on the tapes. So he can listen to them himself. He can have friends to his house and play them. He cannot post them on the internet. He cannot sell the music itself. He cannot cannot reproduce it and sell it in cassette form or something. And neither can the person who buys this, unless it's Jimmy Page or whatever who buys it. So, but the songs were up on YouTube, and they've been pulled. At request of Warner Records, they have been pulled. Not the songs, by the way, just snippets, a couple of snippets. They were considered copyright infringed, and that was that. Down they come. So, and I didn't get a chance. I was gonna actually intro with those, but by the time I got around to doing it, they'd been pulled. So that's why you got what you got. Actually, that's why you got the fake Wanton song and or Sick Again. I think it was right. Sick Again. That's why you get the fake Sick Again. So these are nothing. There's nothing here that hasn't been around before by the looks of things. And like I say, there's whole outtakes from the sessions. There's it's number 9 of the studio outtakes has a Wanton song, "Take Me Home in the Morning," has it's 19 minutes worth of Trampled Underfoot. "In the Morning," by the way, is "In the Light." It's kind of Robert Plant's humming halfway through it and stuff. It's a work in progress. Same with Trampled Underfoot. They're working on all sorts of different stuff in Trampled Underfoot. The guitar part's moving around, all sorts. He's doing different stuff. There's a piano version of "In the Light," which is actually quite pretty. And then "Sick Again," "We're Over," "My Time of Dying," the Wanton song. That's one of the discs, and there's the Bombay sessions, Friends, 4 sticks, Friends, 4 sticks. There's ones from there's a 10 Years Gone early demo. It doesn't look like, I'm looking at the time on the Nevisons in these and seeing if there's anything, but it's an early demo of 10 Years Gone from around the era of 4. So all that stuff is there. And there is some soundtracks, or some, number 8 has like Night Flight, The Rover live, but they're all sound checked live, is what it boils down to. And it's not really very good listening, to be honest with you. And trust me, I did today. There is some concert rehearsal, which I guess sound checks later on too. I'll have to, but none of the stuff that's on this is on those Nevison tapes, is what it boils down to. But a lot of this sort of stuff has already been out there. Question is when. Now, the bigger question is, why is Nevison pulling this stuff out now? Did he go into his basement at Jimmy Page's request and pull this stuff out so they could do the... he's selling some other stuff, by the way. He's selling his non-Zeppelin stuff as well. Tapes, I mean. But he may have gone into the basement to pull these tapes of Jimmy Page and said, I'm not going to sell that stuff. Is that happening? Again, I think these are stereo mixdowns, not the multi-tracks. I'm guessing that's not what they would have used to make the bonus discs for Physical Grafitti even. So it's completely different music. It would be my assumption, my assumption we're not going to hear any of this stuff on at least not from these tapes. Got to assume Swan Song is going to get some kind of presentation when they do Physical Graffiti, though, right? That would be in some of these other versions of, the piano version of 10 Years Gone. That's bound to make it in. And the reason I think I found this most interesting was because of the tie-in to the new mixes. And we don't know there is a tie-in, by the way. I'm not suggesting that. Except the tie-in is that we know he's doing new mixes, that there's going to be new material, and this is new material. You know what I mean? So I don't know that there's a direct connect between these, I guess. But I do know there's... it's fairly safe to suggest that... I don't even know where I'm going with that. I'm having one of those... It's getting late at night for me, and my mind's starting to float off a bit. But yeah, the idea that I guess what I'm saying is these have no direct connection to what Jimmy Page is doing, except that Jimmy Page is doing this sort of thing. He's digging out this sort of material, so it becomes interesting. It gives us a glimpse into what we may be getting, or the sort of thing we may be getting, or the sort of thing we will be getting, I guess. So if you had these tapes on hand and you listen to the version of Sick Again or something, it may give you an idea of what you're gonna hear when there are things like. So to me, that's interesting. But and the other, the legal question of what Ron Nevison can and can't do with these tapes, I'm guessing he's run it through some legal people. But I wouldn't be shocked if they never make it to auction. I wouldn't be shocked if Jimmy Page scoops them up, or the Led Zeppelin camp scoops them up. Tell you what, if I get an interview with John Paul Jones on the Minibus Pimps, I'll ask about that. I'll ask. I'll slip it in because it's not be one he wants to talk about. And having said that, I'll forget, and you guys will be texting me or emailing me going, "What you said? You promised." And I'll be hanging up the phone. Going, I forgot to ask that one stupid question. But anyway, so that's we are, I've been talking too about Record Store Day. We're so anxiously waiting for these new releases, and there's been no information, and there's literally been no information. There was rumors they were coming out in January. There was rumors they were coming out for Christmas, and all of a sudden everything's frozen again. And who knows what's going to happen now with them? Who knows when they're ever coming? But it sure doesn't look like it's soon, does it? And so this is the sort of thing we get excited about is other releases that kind of are out there. And I'd rather have the official stuff, and I don't know what's holding them up. But anyway, Record Store Day, too. I've been saying for a long time, I hope with the new releases, and there is a rumor, I mentioned it last time, that Led Zeppelin is going to drop something on Record Store Day. And it's worth mentioning that Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes 3 LP, I think it was a color vinyl or something. Now, you can get it at Amazon now, apparently, which I didn't know and I should get. I love that album. Maybe I'll wait for Record Store Day now. But that's going to be released. And 2 Yardbirds with little games in a fancy name for it, but it's like a marble picture disc. It's got all sorts of colors on it, or 2 or 3 different colors in a pattern. So they're doing that, and then they're doing like a one from the Glimpse. Remember the Glimpses box set? Now, the time of the Glimpses box set, I contacted the people who sold this. I talked about it quite a bit on this. And I contacted them about getting a copy, maybe getting some cuts, maybe getting some files of some of the songs, maybe getting a sample disc. And they really were, sorry, guy, we don't do that. Sorry, I'm just trying to promote your product here. That's, whatever. That's okay. And it was, but we talked about it a bit. But I never got it. I never reviewed it. I never bought it. So they've narrowed that down to like eight or 10 tracks including, and they're all live tracks from different eras of the Yardbirds, including A Dazed and Confused from the BBC in '69, including Page and Beck, Happenings 10 Years Time Ago. There's some stuff like that. But there's about 4 tracks from the Page era. Plus, they're doing a one-sided 7-inch single of White Summer, and that'll be inside the album. So the album plus the single. So great, and this is the guys who put out the Glimpses boxes. So great, this is a great idea. Now I got something really to look forward to. 200 copies in the USA. 200. 200. You have 1 in a 1 million chance, or some stupid number like that, of actually getting your hands on one of these. Now I get it. Not all 350 million people who live in the United States. So you have 1 in 2 million chance, more like. But not everybody who lives in the States wants a copy of this. But you gotta figure it's gonna be more than 200. And you gotta figure us guys up here in Canada don't stand a hope in hell of getting it. So I'm a little peevish on that. And it's, it's these guys that Glimpse, the Glimpses box set. Like I said, I kind of found them wow, they wouldn't even deal with me. And not even, okay, so we're not giving him anything free, but we'll make sure he gets on the mailing list so that I even asked, okay, that's fine, don't send me anything. But, put me on your mailing list so I know when it's being released for sure and I can let people know. Yeah, I have no idea when it got released. They never, ever sent me any product information, never sent me a press release. No, they just dropped it. Yeah, whatever. Maybe people will figure it out. Maybe people will dream that it's on the website and come. So I never, I never even considered buying it actually. By the time I was done with those guys, it was I'm not spending my I buy the John Paul Jones thing as much as anything because I got this podcast to fill, and I figure you kind of have a bit of an obligation. So something like the box set for the Yardbirds I might have done because I kind of feel there's something to review and it's not cheap. So, but they don't even want to deal with you a little. And I'm not spending my money for the podcast, and I'm giving it to them. There's a connection there that's not happening. So anyway, we're waiting anxiously is what this all comes down to, right? For something from Led Zeppelin. There's these Ron Nevison tapes are out there. And going to be auctioned. If you auction them off, if you buy them, let me know. I'll give you my address so you can have them sent to me. If you're looking for a gift for the podcast guy, and the second tape I think is most interesting. But but no, and yeah, I have a reel-to-reel player by the way. But no, I wouldn't. I would never spend that kind of bread. So anyway, that's it. We wait anxiously for Jimmy and Company to get something out, get some product on the shelves. But that's it for this week. That was next week. I'll be talking about the minibus pimps quite in detail, and this is Ramble On Radio number 49, episode 49. Next week's the big 50. So check rambleonradio.com for any notes on this week's podcast, for Led Zeppelin news or reviews, for any links mentioned in today's podcast. Follow Ramble On Radio on Facebook, Google+, and at Ramble On Blog on Twitter. You can subscribe to Ramble On Radio through iTunes. Don't forget to leave a review. Listen to Spreaker. Be sure to follow Ramble On Radio. And check it out at I Am Brian Dammit on YouTube. Thanks for listening to Ramble On Radio. I will see you next week.
Switch off the internet.
So this week was a bit of a decision time. I got the John Paul Jones album, the Minibus Pimps album actually on Monday, and gave it a listen. Myself and my daughter. My daughter was home from school, and she's 19. We gave it a listen. And I kind of warned her beforehand, this isn't going to be what you think. And she kind of had some interesting thoughts on it. One of her thoughts was, it's not terrible. which I guess is, it means it's a possibility of getting, if everybody does that, if lots of people do it, we can get ourselves into the hot, what's hot, which means more people will discover it. You can listen on Spreaker. If you go to Spreaker, follow me, Ramble On Radio, or I Am Brian Dammit, it might be, and check out I Am Brian Dammit on YouTube. All these ways you can, of course, and follow Ramble On Radio on Facebook, Google+, and Ramble On Blog at Ramble On. I get this wrong every time. At Ramble On Blog on Twitter. I say what? Oh, this is Brian. Call me the Norwegian avant-garde master. Something from somebody who likes, Broadway hits and pop. This is, metal plots clanking together type of thing. It's not what it is, but it is kind of what it comes across as. So the question was, should I review that? Should I spend the day doing that? Or should I talk about the Physical Grafitti tapes that are out there? And there was kind of two people responded on Facebook. See, the more people respond on Facebook, I have a better. And one went one way, one went the other. I sent a second email. Gardner, coming to you from Ramble On Tower's Dungeon Studio in scenic Hesper, Ontario. You are listening to Ramble On Radio, episode number 49. The Ramble On Radio is the only dedicated Led Zeppelin podcast on this or any other known internets. Be sure to go to rambleonradio.com for all your Led Zeppelin news and any links I might mention during the show. You can subscribe to Ramble On Radio through iTunes, and if you go to iTunes, rate the show, leave a little. It just takes a few seconds. You can just say love it, hate it, whatever, but leave a review. It helps.